In this world of technology, things are ever changing, rearranging. You need someone to help you out. I know someone who can.
Come and take a journey with me as we go through the land of technology. You'll never be alone. You'll be with Paul Amadeus Lane in the tech zone. Welcome to the tech zone. We on our tech flow, and it's still a global market in case you didn't know. So many guests, we not trying to impress. Just wanna pass off the info. You could do the rest. See, there's no escaping tech. It's part of our lives. Keep every individual connected worldwide. But all this innovation is more than entertainment. It's people like you paving a new way every day. So let your imagination run wild with all the things that you dream about. Cause the tech zone is on now with Paul Amadeus Lane. Blah. Come and take a journey with me as we go through the land of technology. You'll never be alone. You'll be with Paul Amadeus Lane in the tech zone.
Hello and welcome to the Tech Zone. What's going on? I am Paul Amadeus Lane and welcome to the Tech Zone. I'm so happy to have you on the show with me today. What are we going to talk about? Say it with me, folks. We're going to talk about tech. And not just any tech, but tech that really enhances your life. I'm going to be joined by an amazing individual that's really, she is so mindful of how much tech has changed her life. She wants to make sure that everyone knows what tech has done for her, but also for some other people in her similar situations as well. And this is truly, to me, how tech is really a game changer. We can look at technology and say, hey, look at the cool phone, look at this cool video game. Hey, look, I can tell Alexa, hey, Alexa, play Tech Zone with Paul Amadeus Lane. Or I can tell Google, hey, Google, play Tech Zone, Paul Amadeus Lane podcast. You get what I'm doing, guys? Do it to your Google and do it to your Amazon. Now, for Amazon, you have to enable the Spreaker podcast but you got to enable that skill in order to get the Tech Zone that way. So check it out. Let me know how you like it. And do me a favor, shoot a video doing that. And if you do, I don't know, maybe I could do something special for you. Maybe, not sure yet. But just check it out. Let me know what you think. Remember, you can always connect with me, PaulAmadeusLane.com. We are beginning the crazy leg of just stuff for me to do. I'm going to be at the Abilities Expo beginning tomorrow in Los Angeles as an ambassador. I'm looking forward to checking out the assistive and adaptive technology out there and also connecting with the disabled community and aging and adult community out there and also the caregivers. I love talking to caregivers. I love talking to the parents. I love talking to the family members, just the caregivers, about their responsibilities. And they are involved in a major responsibility taking care of their loved ones. And it's an amazing thing that they're doing, and always thank them for what they're doing. Never look at a situation and say, well, I don't know if I'll be able to do that. Have you ever heard somebody say that before? I heard people would tell me that, I don't know if I can be paralyzed like you. And I just look at them and I'm like, bless your little heart. Because you have no idea how resilient you are when you have to go through something and you have to rise up. I never thought that I would have to deal with this, but over the last 27 years, it taught me to be a better person, to be a fighter, not to give up, and inspire. So never feel that if you go through something that you wouldn't be able to deal with it, but you can. And the way that you can deal with it is by having a support group that loves you. And take it easy in your support group too. Sometimes we can be a little extra when it comes to our caregivers and family members. And I'm not using this forum to preach or to, just to get on anybody's case, but just think about it. When you go through something, just remember, you can overcome it. And there are things that can help you to overcome it. All right, back to tech. There are some great organizations out there that are making sure that technology is really hearing from the underrepresented community out there of folks who are disabled. One of those organizations has been around for decades. We're talking about the United Spinal Association. They are doing some great things. I had an opportunity to be a part of their elite group called the TAG Group. What does that TAG group stand for? Well, instead of me explaining it to you and messing it up, I had an opportunity to talk to the person who really heads that wing of the United Spinal Association. And why don't I bring her on without any further delay? And I'm so happy to have this one beautiful individual with me on the show today. I kind of talked about it before I brought her on, but the work that she is doing and also the rest of my friends over the United Spinal Association is incredible. Talking about the beautiful Brooke McCall. Brooke, what's going on, my dear? How are you?
I'm having a lovely day. How about you, Paul?
I'm doing fantastic. How's the weather out there in Portland, Oregon?
It's funny. It was sunny and then it was raining. It's normal Portland business.
Typical Portland, right?
Yeah.
Now we're friends. So if I mention the Lakers beating the Portland Trail Blazers, we're still cool, right? You won't hang up on me, right?
We'll be okay.
All right.
I'm from California. So.
I forgot. Yeah, you are California. You're California like me. And Brooke, before we talk about some of the great things that you're doing at the United Spinal Association, and also what we're doing with the TAG group over there, I wanted you to share with everyone your story and what was the series of events that led you to be a part of the United Spinal Association, and a big part too because you are the director of tech initiative. So what were some of these series of events that led you to this great organization?
Yeah, it's been a nice evolution. I guess first and foremost, I myself have a spinal cord injury. So 17 years ago, I had an accident, something relatively simple. I got locked out of my house, and I decided as a young person that it would be a great idea to try to climb over from my neighbor's balcony, and hand slipped and I fell. And since then, I've been, of course, building my life back up as a quadriplegic, and it's something that I've worked hard at, but it's come together pretty nicely. I moved to Portland 4 years ago to do a post-grad fellowship at a medical school here, and ended up making friends with a lot of locals and a lot of people who had spinal cord injuries, and one of them actually worked for United Spinal Association. He still does. He's the editor of our New Mobility membership magazine, which is a fun and somewhat provocative magazine for folks living active lives in wheelchairs. And I had been a fan for a while of the magazine, so I was happy to make the connection. And he actually told me about an opportunity to attend our Roll on Capitol Hill event, which happens every summer. And I attended and met 100 other people with spinal cord injuries and related disorders. And we all went on hill visits and spoke to legislators. And that's something that I really wanted to do and was curious about, but didn't necessarily know how to do. So that experience was pretty huge for me. And a couple months later, a job with our policy department popped up, and I applied, and I did that for 2 years, and now I'm starting this new burgeoning position as the director of tech access initiatives, and yeah, it's been a great ride.
Well, Brooke, I'll tell you your story of how you didn't allow your disability to cloud, your creativity, your drive to continue to learn more, go get your education, and really be a voice out there. Now, was it kind of hard to get to the point where you wanted to be a part of an organization like the United Spinal Association? Did you go through the times when you were like, really didn't know what you wanted to do? And if you don't mind, talk about that if you don't mind.
I don't mind at all. Yeah, I think that I don't think it's that I didn't want to be involved. I'll be honest, I didn't know about United Spinal, or really many other organizations like United Spinal. We have actually chapters across the country. I think right now just a few over 50, so maybe 54, and constantly growing more. But I just wasn't connected. I didn't know early on. I was in California and just hadn't known about the community. And so it's not that I was really avoiding it, but I think for the first 10 years or so after my injury, I went back to school. I wanted to figure out, I was a young person when I got hurt. So I just wanted to figure out how to go back to the life I was living, become independent. For me, that's with assistance, but I live independently. I moved pretty early on, right after my injury. I said, no, I don't want to be stuck in my hometown. I want to get back out there. So I moved to San Diego and went back to school at UCSD, and then went on to a master's degree. I did all of that stuff really just kind of saying, I know I can do it, but I always really wanted other mentors that had spinal cord injuries and that were really out there doing big things. So I was really happy to connect with United Spinal and see that there are so many of us really thriving and succeeding despite our injuries, and then to also help people who are new. Of course, anyone can get a spinal cord injury at any point in their life. So yeah, it's been really rewarding, but yeah, it took some time.
And you know what, Brooke? Just hearing you talk about your story and your journey is really, really inspirational. Sometimes when we have a spinal injury or even a disability or even a sickness, sometimes I know, like for myself, I was in a shell for a long time. It took me about a year and a half to really get my mind right, to get focused, and to get back to be a productive member of society. And ones like yourself and others who are part of the United Spinal Association can really brighten that day for ones, who are neurally injured, or even ones who've been injured for a while, and really need that resource and that hope. And that magazine, New Mobility, it's awesome. It's amazing. I love it. And especially the last episode, some jerk was in. I don't know why you put him in there, but it's with the funny thing about it, Brooke, is that when we see where we're at, because it's about 27 years since my injury, 17 for you. And when we first got injured, Brooke, there wasn't a lot of technology out there that could help us to try to live independently. But now we're seeing a trend over the last 10 or so years. We're starting to see the assistive and adaptive technologies and all these other great pieces of innovation out there. What has that done, especially to the disabled community and the aging and adult community out there, to live independently? Because you did it. You did it the old school way, and you did it. And you lived independent. But what about the technology now that can really help out?
There's so much happening. It's huge. Yeah, like you said, 17 years ago, when I was in rehab, and I went to a cool rehab. I felt like I went to college for spinal cord injuries, but their tech center was actually, and they've left. I've gone back and they have a big, beautiful tech center now. But it was a closet that had a computer in it. It's dark, and they taught me how to use voice activation, and they were knowledgeable, but not experts themselves because they had not been dependent on it. And I don't know, before I left, it took me about an hour and a half to check my email, and I'd been somewhat tech savvy, I would say, prior. I cared a lot, and I had taught myself how to do HTML back when, that was all you needed to know. And so it was really hard for me. I hadn't checked my email that whole time, and I had connections all over that I really depended on, IMing and things like that back then. And so it was a struggle. But when I got out of the hospital, I learned, and I had to, because it was really my autonomy and my independence. The computer for me has been key. I'd say without my computer, now I don't know that my evolution and transformation would have been in any way the same. Without my computer and that kind of independence, I would have not been able to go back to school I wouldn't have a job. I telecommute, but do everything on my own. I really hate telling people what to do computer wise. The idea of having someone else need to type for me or, run my mouse or anything, just when I have to do it, even for a short period of time, I get very frustrated. So, yeah, there's so many things we can do now. Now, there are so many options with our phones. We can be mobile. I think there's still a little lag on that. I've felt a little bit behind mobility wise when it comes to the application, you want to say, of the world. But I'm catching up because the technology is catching up, and that's really huge, not only for independence, but also for safety.
Yes.
I have a lot more freedom. Like quadriplegics in the past have had to rely on really basic switches or horns, alarm systems, baby monitors in your home, which that's not what any adult wants to have to rely on things like that. So now we have all kinds of things, and not to mention just some of those convenience environmental control type things really have benefited folks from our community. I can say 2 years ago, I think I voice activated my Christmas tree. I was pretty excited about that. That was novel. But in the last couple of years, I have a cool smart switch for my ceiling fan that has been a lifesaver. Uh, uh, Folks with quadriplegia and spinal cord injuries have temperature regulation issues, which Paul, I'm sure you know about. But
Ooh, tell me about it. Get too cold or too hot? We gotta come
it's
down soon,
one
don't
of
we?
the yeah, one of the bigger frustrations. And so at night when I'm sleeping, now I don't have to call my assistant in and say, "Can you turn the fan off and on?" I just get to do that, and that means she gets to stay asleep, but I get to stay asleep. I can just say, "Turn on fan." That's very easy, and I don't need to make a phone call. Get somebody to come in. That's a lot. Then I maybe wouldn't fall back asleep, and now I can just say that off and on. It's amazing. Not only that, but we can control our thermostats and the lights. And I just got a new. I haven't figured out how to smart switch it, but it might be possible. Just got a new desk that goes up and down, which has been
Wow.
very exciting because yeah, standing desk, and it has the ability to go up and down, which is really important. I have a power chair and I have a manual chair, and depending on the day, I want it up and down. So that's been exciting. But yeah, there's so many things that can make our lives easier and allow us to not be quite so dependent on other people. For some people, it's a pure key to independence, where they otherwise would have needed help. They don't. And in times of, if you have an emergency, if somebody falls out of their chair or all the things that can possibly happen, having, an environmental control like a Google Home or a Amazon Alexa or an Apple Home, iHome, I'm not sure the perfect name. I'm getting there. But yeah, you can call for help, which that's huge.
It is. And to go back to something you said earlier about HTML, I remember when I started doing HTML, I started HTML programming on Netscape. You remember Netscape,
I do.
Brooke? Remember
Yeah.
that browser and everything? And I tell you, and I was like you. I was trying to figure out how to do this. And I did my own website for a business that I had back then. But to see where we're at today, and to see how we're able to use our platform to encourage others, to let them know that there's things out there that can really enhance their lives. It's really gratifying, especially when you are able to talk to someone who may not know that these type of technologies have existed. And our tag group, we'll talk about our tag group in a few minutes. Our tag group is incredible. Some of our group, some of the things that they're able to do independent wise. And I remember, Brooke, when we first met each other over the phone, I believe someone talked about how kind of Alexa or Google Home really helped them because I think their husband was gone or somebody was gone. I remember we were on the call together and somebody shared their
Hmm.
story. You remember that story, Brooke? And if you can't, tell it better than me, because it really showed the just why and how important independence and technology can help us.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I do remember that story. Of course, it's still me remembering the same thing. But yeah, I believe, yeah, one of our tag members, she was stuck in bed for some reason. I don't know, I can't recall, but it happens. And so she hadn't been able to get up, or maybe even her assistant that helps her get up in the morning hadn't wasn't able to be there that day, so she was kind of stuck, and her husband had to go to work. And I don't remember exactly why, but there was a moment where she wasn't able to get to her phone, or occasionally we drop our phones and they just get out of, you're not in contact. And she said she had well, an environmental control, I can't say which one, but I think it was across the house. And she said she was able to yell from more, not even in the same room. And it was able to hear her. She was able to call her husband and say, I need you. It's an emergency. I'm guessing they bought, another one closer after this. But she said she was able to do that. And, in the past,
Yeah,
people, can be stuck at home for hours because
definitely.
something goes wrong.
Because I know, like with me,
Yeah.
like sometimes when I'm working in my home studio and I forget when it's time to get catheterized, and I got to put my um, alarms on, either on my cell phone or either on the
Mhm.
Alexa or the Google Home, and it reminds me because sometimes if people say, "What do you mean you're disabled? What do you mean you forget about things?" I mean, Brooke, you live a very very busy life. I live a very busy life. There's a lot of people who are disabled that lives very busy lives that we need reminders too to remember certain things. So, and
Me
it's
too.
it's real gratifying to see that technology is helping us out. Brooke, what I would like to do, I want to hold you over to for another segment because we have covered some great information of your story and how tech has changed your life and how it's changing other people's life. We're going to take a break right here, Brooke. And what I want to do is have you come back if you can stay with me, and let's talk about why Tag was formed. Can you stay with me for a little while?
I sure can.
All right, folks, we'll be right back with more Tech Zone. Brooke McCall is going to stay with me, and I hope she doesn't leave because I can be kind of extra sometimes. But hopefully she'll stay. She said she was. She gave me her word. And when we come back, we're going to delve in deeper about what the Tag group is all about over the United Spinal Association. Coming up right after these messages. We'll be right back.
In this world of technology, things are ever changing, rearranging. You need someone to help you out. I know someone who can. Come and take a journey with me as we go through the land of technology. You'll never be alone. You'll be with Paul Amadeus Lane in the tech zone.